is mounting on Angela Rayner over the stamp duty scandal.
It's now being reported the Deputy Prime Minister used £160,000 from a trust fund set up for her disabled son to buy this property, the £800,000 property in Hove, earlier this year. She's already admitted she underpaid stamp duty in the new flat to the tune of, we think, £40,000, and says she deeply regrets the legal error.
Well, in the last hour, the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, has defended the Deputy Prime Minister.
Sort of. I mean, listen to it.
Let's take a listen.
I have full confidence in Angela Rayner. She's a good friend and a colleague. She has accepted the right stamp duty wasn't paid. That was an error. That was a mistake. She is working hard now to rectify that.
So, should Angela Rayner resign? Well, we're joined by political commentator Paul Connew to answer that question. Paul, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Angela Rayner has referred herself to the Ethics Committee. Should we just wait and see what the outcome of that investigation is?
I think we should. I mean, I'm a Labour supporter and an admirer of Angela Rayner. I think it should be a big loss to the government. But, and it's a big three-letter word, but, her position is hanging by the thinnest of gossamer threads, and I suspect it might be severed. It's all going to depend on what sort of report Sir Laurie Magnus, the ethics czar, as it were, feeds back to the Prime Minister, because it's not the ethics czar who actually decides in the end, it's the Prime Minister who decides. And I was surprised yesterday, even as a Labour supporter, how robustly the Prime Minister defended Angela Rayner at PMQs. I think he should have rather been a little more cautious and basically said she's done the right thing by reporting herself to the ethics advisor. Let's wait and see how, what his investigation reveals. And that would have been the safe thing, because if she does have to go, it's going to be egg on the Prime Minister's face, and which he didn't need to put there.
If Paul, if she, I mean, I'm with you. I think it just looks horrific. I think it's perception is a lot about politics, and we were told all the time, weren't we, that when all those Labour MPs, ministers had taken money from Lord Ali and other people, it was all within the rules. But then, within a few weeks' time, the Prime Minister repaid £6,500 of the freebies because he knew it didn't pass the smell test. But if she's able to show she was wrongly advised, does that put her in the clear, or does the fact that she's housing secretary who's not paid the right stamp duty on a second home property, or third home, first home, call it what you will, is that enough for her to go? I
think there are two points in there, I think, Andrew. It's going to depend heavily on who her original solicitors were and whether they were, if you like, property tax law experts, if that is part of their, if you like, of their discipline. If they were and they gave her the wrong advice, I think she can probably survive. But if she merely, and I suspect this may be the case, I hope I'm wrong, but I think I'm not, if she only consulted her ordinary conveying solicitors who are not specialists in the in the intricacies of property tax law, especially when a trust fund is involved, then I think she is probably in a degree of problem that she can't possibly survive. And the Prime Minister will be in a difficult situation there. So it's going to depend upon which, if Sir Laurie comes up with a fudge, which basically doesn't condemn her outright, criticises, but without total condemnation, the Prime Minister is going to have a tricky choice. But interestingly, what some of the papers haven't taken up today is the fact that the Prime Minister cannot sack her as Deputy Prime Minister, because that is a position. The Deputy Leader of the Labour Party is an elected position. What he can do is fire her as housing secretary if he wishes to, but not as Deputy Prime Minister, which would be an intriguing scenario.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
It would make her position untenable though, Paul, wouldn't it?
Oh, I think the pressure on her to resign would be immense, but she cannot be forced out of that role if she didn't want to go. I suspect Angela Rayner, I think it's essentially an honourable person. She may have not taken the proper advice on this, because in her position, the point I've made before, in her position as Housing Secretary as well as Deputy Prime Minister, and somebody who was rightly criticised Tory politicians in the past over tax scandals, then I think she would probably do the right thing and resign. But
Paul, I'm just going to pause you there, Paul. Sorry.
You must go.
We're just going to pause you there, Paul, because we can now bring in Stella Tsantekidou, also a political commentator.
And the Labour Party supporter.
Yeah, good morning, Stella. What's your view? Do you think we should wait and see what the Ethics Commissioner says before making a judgment about Angela Rayner's behaviour?
You personally probably should wait and see. For me, no, I'm not going to wait and see. I'm going to support her already because, frankly, I feel like if we want to see women like Angela Rayner, who have a complicated background, who come from a working class background, a woman who had her first child when she was a teenager, then we need to be able to forgive her as readily as we forgive men who come from backgrounds where they have access to multiple millions of pounds of resources and support and all of the rest. And people keep on saying, oh, what does it matter if the amount we're talking about is multiple millions of pounds or if it's 40,000 pounds? Well, the average person understands the massive difference that it makes, the very different environment in which a woman like Angela Rayner has to fight to survive and to have a stable family life.
So you forgive it. So you forgive her. Hang on, let's just get this right. So you forgive her because she's from a very working class background, and I acknowledge her backstory is awesome. It's very impressive. But you wouldn't forgive her if she came from a middle class background if she'd blundered.
I forgive her because see, this is not fraud. This is an oversight, right? And this is not a woman who is from an upper middle class background.
Oh, for God's sake!
Millions of pounds in the bank.
Oh, for God's sake! She's got advisors at her disposal. She's the Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Secretary. Her background's got nothing to do with it.
It absolutely has something to do with it.
Can I come in there? I admire
Paul.
Angela Rayner greatly, but and sympathise over her, her disabled son. But she is the Deputy Prime Minister. She is the Housing Secretary.
So because rich people get to have better advice.
The background can't excuse it if she has broken
Quite.
the rules.
Well said.
Normal people can see that rich people get better advice, and they go and they hide their money away in offshore accounts, and they know how to do.
She's on £160,000 a year.
Lawyers.
She earns £160,000 a year.
Stella?
They tax evade millions.
Stella?
She earns £160,000 a year. She can afford good advice, Stella.
Stella, do you think it weakens your argument to basically say that she should be treated differently under the law because of her background? Now, I don't think she should resign because I think as yet it's unclear she's acted unreasonably. But doesn't it weaken the argument to say that we should just make excuses for anybody from a particular background?
I do not think she should be treated differently. I think that the media should give her the kind of grace.
Well, that is different treatment.
Like Boris Johnson, Jacob Rees-Mogg, and all the rest. I think, and Rishi Sunak, and every other extremely rich politician, male politician from an upper middle class background. I think that the same way that the media do not spend that much time going through Rishi Sunak's or Jacob Rees-Mogg's or Boris Johnson's financial affairs day in, day out, they should give the same grace to Angela Rayner, who, frankly, £40,000, what is £40,000 when you are comparing it to the millions of pounds that all these other MPs get to keep hold on?
I'm not a cheerleader for the Daily Telegraph by any means, but if it wasn't for public interest investigative journalism, this wouldn't even have come to light. Let's not forget that. Although, intriguingly, I was listening to a phone-in program on a different station, a while ago, and it was quite fascinating, but it was about a 50-50 split between people saying she should go and those saying she should stay. At the end of the day, the Prime Minister has to weigh up Sir Laurie Magnus's report. But I suspect that unless that's a fudge, which is quite possible, I think Keir Starmer will have no choice but to remove her as Housing Secretary. But as I've said earlier, he can't remove her as Deputy Prime Minister unless she volunteers to resign.
Well, Paul, Stella, thank you so much for both coming on. We'll have to leave it there, but I'm sure the debate's going to run and run.
What is £40,000? That's an awful lot of money to people if you're on a fixed income.